Hi, folks. Welcome back inside Manhattan Athletics. Christian Heimall speaking with the head coach of Manhattan Men's Lacrosse, Steve Manitta. Coach, got the first win of the season under your belt against Mount St. Mary's, finally getting one in the win column.
Yeah, I think we were, guys didn't know how to handle the lead. Went up 8-3. Things were clicking for us a little bit, and we had a little bit of an issue clearing at the end. The Mountain did a really good job of putting a nice ride on, and some of our younger guys struggled. And to walk away, get a win, and learn a little something is going to, I think, will benefit us down the line.
When people look at the schedule and they see 1 and 5, and maybe they don't look at who it's against, talk about why you're going out and playing teams like a Princeton, teams like a Fairfield, like a North Carolina.
Well, yeah, we are 1 and 5. I think 4 of those games that we played were against teams that were nationally ranked or being mentioned, and I think it really helps us develop as a team. The younger guys can see the level of lacrosse and the effort that some of these guys that are playing at the upper echelon are putting in, and it makes a huge difference for us. It's a very important learning tool when you're trying to build something up, and it's worked for me in the past, and I believe it's going to work.
Where is the biggest difference between a first-year head coach and a second-year head coach?
Just the system was a lot different last year. The kids that were doing some things here in the past, we were doing some things differently defensively. I think personalities were a little bit different, and it took the guys a little time to warm up to the coaches and figure out what we were all about, just like we were doing the same thing with them, what they could do. And this year it's still a little bit of a process, but we're discovering some things about some guys. It's been much more competitive in practice, which has allowed the coaches to get some guys some game time based on those practices. The bottom line is you go out there and you compete because you want to, not because you have to. And we're finding a lot of those have-to guys and a lot of those want-to guys the past couple of weeks, and we're excited to get this next one going.
Talk about it, because you and I were talking prior to starting the show, a couple of your seniors back, especially defensively, but guys like Sean McMahon and guys like Rich Akinitis.
I haven't been around a long stick midfielder like Sean McMahon in a long, long while. He does so much for this team. Did a lot last year, but this season, because he hasn't had to take as many reps, because we were a little bit deeper, he's a little bit more fresh going into that third and that fourth quarter. He hasn't really had to take any face-offs for us, but he just controlling the middle of the field. He's got a couple of goals, a couple of assists. I think he's averaging right around 6.5, 7 ground balls per game. Just does a really good job. Very, 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 very good leader, and is just really sticking to what we're trying to do defensively. I think Coach Layton and Coach Nealis feel very confident, and they're very lucky to have a guy like Sean running the show down there defensively.
And then when you look in the cage, a guy like Rich, is he having probably the best year of his career so far?
Richie came on at the end last season a little bit and had a huge game towards the tail end of the season. Last 3 games, played very, very well. Came back, he was in pretty good shape, and he's our guy. And we're going to stick with Richie, and he's making some pretty good saves. He moves real well for a big guy. And it's funny because he reminds us a lot of the kid that we're going to see this weekend at Quinnipiac. And so the only difference is one's a righty, one's a lefty. But they're big bodies, but they move very well, and they do some good things. But Richie's just been one of the bright spots for sure.
You talk about trying to differentiate between have-to or want-to guys, whatever it may be, but you're starting to get your guys in your recruiting classes. Talk about the young kids in the first years.
Yeah, not that we felt like the kids that were here were, poor lacrosse players. They were not. I just think that right now, because of the changing system and the tempo that we're trying to play, it's a little bit different. And some of these younger guys are more suited, that two-way midfielder, the kids that can stay on and play. Some of our guys right now are staying on the field playing defense, and then staying on the field and getting some reps offensively. And we've got a bunch of those guys. We're young and they're learning, and their IQ's getting there. But we're happy with the young group.
Who's been the most impressive to you so far in the early going of the season?
Some of the young guys. Nick Strano is a sophomore. Nick's been doing a tremendous job for us off the face-off wings, playing defensive midfield, running some transition for us, clearing the ball out for us. Gian Noto from Florida, Alex Aviog from California. Alex played great against the Mount. He really was constantly on the field. Matt Garvey, a kid from West Essex, New Jersey, has really done a good job on both sides of the ball as well. And, we're real happy. We're impressed with the work that they're putting in, and what they're doing offensively is a bonus for us because we can keep them on the field going against some offensive guys.
When you look at the offense for this team, obviously you bring back a lot of talent scoring-wise from last year, a lot of numbers from last year. Where do you see them improving as the season progresses?
We feel like we got a nice matchup combination with the Hodap, Peyton, and Hurst at attack. They really are starting to become real comfortable with one another and trusting in one another. It's added a little bit of a dimension for us when we ride. And Pat played great against the Mount. It's a matchup issue, and that's something that we've been kind of tinkering with over the past couple of weeks, just evaluating in practice and seeing what combinations are working for us. A lot of kids are playing two different positions, and it's given us a different look going into the conference play, which starts tomorrow against Quinnipiac.
Briefly step into MAC play with the Bobcats, and then again, you're back out on Long Island, take on Stony Brook next week. But what do you see when you watch a team like Quinnipiac?
Very well coached. He's been there for a long time. Defensively, they do a very good job. They've got a couple of Canadians that can put the ball in the hoop, and their freshman, I believe he's a freshman at the faceoff X, has been doing a pretty decent job as well. So we're going to have to play our best, and we know they're well coached and tough kids, and pretty athletic, and they played some pretty tough competition as well in the Harvards and Providence, and they just had a tough one against Hartford, but it was close pretty much the entire game, and then heading into that last frame, Hartford's depth I think got to them. They're a very good team.
We talked about Sean earlier, and you mentioned hasn't had to take as many reps at X. When you look at the guys that you have, obviously Brett, a kid who played for you in high school, but Jack Fowler as a walk-on, getting a lot of reps there as well. What do you see in that rotation?
Brett's done a great job of mentoring Jack Fowler, and Jack had approached us early in the fall season, came on as a walk-on, and he's doing a great job. Brett is a very talented, experienced face-off specialist, and I believe that having both of them working together throughout the season is only going to put us in a better situation than we were in last year. We had a hard time at the face-off X, which I really feel, like a lot of statistics out there, that's one of those statistics where if you're down in the basement, that it definitely hurts both sides of the ball in the long run.
Starting MAC play, any bulletin board material with the way that this team is picked in the preseason?
Not really. We're just trying to get better every day. I think everybody's excited around here right now with going to the dance with Coach Masiello and the basketball team, and Noah stepping in as the new athletic director. There's a lot of changes going on here, and I think there's a lot of exciting things happening at Manhattan College, and we're just trying to jump into that mix and just add another dimension to all the great things that are happening here at the college.
What's the biggest key to go 1-0 in MAC play?
Better job clearing the ball. Continue to stay on those ground balls, and put the ball on the cage, and don't get frustrated if things aren't going your way. Don't think shot, think score, and I think the rest will take care of itself.
Jaspers take on Quinnipiac, first game of the MAC season, coming up tomorrow up in Connecticut. Steve Manitta, head coach of Manhattan men's lacrosse. Coach, always thanks a lot for the time.
Thank you.
And thanks for joining us inside Manhattan Athletics.